Detachment is a core principle in Buddhism, guiding individuals toward inner peace by teaching them to release attachments to external things, people, and outcomes. The Buddhist understanding of detachment is not about indifference or resignation, but about recognizing the impermanence of life. It encourages a profound freedom from the clutches of desire and the fear of loss. When we let go of what we cling to, we open ourselves to the present moment, allowing us to experience life fully without being weighed down by expectations or regrets. Instead, it's about giving love freely, understanding that love itself is not about control. By practicing detachment, we cultivate a love that is free, spontaneous, and deeply fulfilling. This way, when change comes, we can face it with serenity, knowing that true peace comes not from clinging to the past or fearing the future, but from living fully in the present moment. As we begin to understand the true nature of detachment, we find that it leads us down a path of acceptance. Acceptance does not mean passively resigning to circumstances, but embracing life as it comes, with all its imperfections and uncertainties. It's through this acceptance that we stop fighting against life's natural flow and learn to move forward with grace. When we stop resisting and allow ourselves to let go, we experience freedom, not from the world, but from our own attachments. This realization prepares us for the next step, the practice of radical acceptance, where we embrace life without resistance or judgment. El desapego y su significado en el Buddhismo. The Buddhist teachings on detachment suggest that suffering arises directly from attachment. When we become overly attached to something or someone, we often tie our happiness to them. This attachment gives rise to fear, the fear of losing what we hold dear. This fear can create stress, anxiety, and emotional pain. For instance, when we cling to relationships that no longer fulfill us, or when we hold on to material possessions for a sense of self-worth, we tie ourselves to the fleeting nature of these things. By releasing these attachments, we allow ourselves to live freely, without being controlled by the anxiety of what we might lose. Buddhism teaches that attachment is a source of suffering because we seek security in a constantly changing world. When we learn to embrace impermanence, we shift our mindset. Loss becomes less of a tragedy and more of a natural process. The river does not cling to the water that flows, it simply moves with it. In the same way, we can learn to flow with life's changes rather than resist them. Detachment, in essence, is not about abandoning our emotional connections, but about transforming them. For example, when we love someone, detachment teaches us not to possess them, but to love them freely, without depending on them for our happiness. It is the ability to give and receive love without expectation or the need for control. This approach to relationships allows for deeper, more meaningful connections, as we no longer burden them with the expectation of perfection or permanence. Through detachment, we free ourselves from the chains of attachment, creating space for true happiness and peace. La historia de la copa rota y la lechen de la impermanencia. The Buddha's teachings often emphasize that attachment is the root cause of suffering. We are taught that when we become attached to something, we bind ourselves to the fear of losing it. This fear leads to anxiety and emotional turmoil, creating a vicious cycle where we strive to hold on to things that are ultimately out of our control. Detachment, in this context, is not about abandoning our desires or withdrawing from life, but about freeing ourselves from the anxiety of loss. In daily life, the practice of detachment can manifest in various ways. Letting go of unrealistic expectations is one of the simplest forms of detachment. For example, when we expect perfection from ourselves or others, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Embracing impermanence in our relationships allows us to love deeply without fear of loss. When we understand that relationships, like all things, will change, we can enjoy them fully without trying to possess or control them. This detachment frees us to experience love and connection without the constant worry of losing it. As the monk learned from the shattered cup, detachment is not about rejecting the world around us, but about accepting the fleeting nature of all things. It is about allowing life to flow as it will, without resistance or fear. When we embrace impermanence, we let go of the need to control everything and instead, we live more freely and with greater peace. The practice of detachment is, ultimately, a path to inner tranquility, a path that leads us to understand the nature of suffering and to release ourselves from it. Acceptation radical. Abrazar la vida tal como es. An essential aspect of self-compassion in Buddhism is forgiveness, both of ourselves and others. Forgiveness is not about excusing harm or allowing ourselves to be mistreated, but rather about letting go of the burdens of resentment and anger. This is a crucial practice for those seeking to find peace and happiness. Holding on to past wounds prevents us from fully embracing the present moment and can ultimately deepen our suffering. One of the key benefits of right speech and self-compassion is their ability to help us navigate difficult situations with equanimity. In moments of stress, anger, or disappointment, it can be easy to resort to negative self-talk or harmful speech toward others. However, by practicing self-compassion and right speech, we can maintain our composure and respond with kindness and wisdom. This helps to prevent the escalation of conflict and fosters a more peaceful, compassionate environment for both ourselves and those around us. In daily life, these practices can be applied in various ways. For example, when facing a challenging situation at work or in a relationship, instead of resorting to frustration or self-blame, we can pause, breathe, and offer ourselves understanding. We might say to ourselves, "This is difficult, but I am doing my best, and that is enough." When interacting with others, we can practice right speech by choosing our words carefully, ensuring they are thoughtful and constructive rather than hurtful. In doing so, we embody the core teachings of Buddhism, helping to create a world that is more understanding, patient, and loving. Through these practices, we learn to speak and live with authenticity, kindness, and wisdom. Confianza, en el universo y comprensión del destino. In Buddhism, radical acceptance is a transformative practice that encourages individuals to embrace life as it is, without resistance or judgment. This acceptance is not a passive resignation, but an active engagement with the reality of our experiences. It involves recognizing that everything, both the pleasant and the unpleasant, is part of the flow of life, and by accepting it, we can reduce our suffering and cultivate inner peace. Radical acceptance is deeply intertwined with the Buddhist understanding of impermanence, anicca. Nothing in life is permanent, and every situation, relationship, or experience is in a constant state of flux. By accepting this inherent truth, we free ourselves from the struggle to control or resist the inevitable changes that occur. This acceptance does not mean passivity. Rather, it is an active choice to embrace the moment as it is, without judgment or the need to change it. One powerful Buddhist story that illustrates the concept of radical acceptance is the tale of the monk and the wild horse. In this story, a monk lives in a remote village and cares for a beautiful horse that has become very important to him. One day, the horse runs away, and the villagers, seeing his sorrow, say, "What bad luck?" The monk simply responds, "Maybe." Sometime later, the horse returns, bringing with it a herd of wild horses. The villagers, seeing this as a great turn of fortune, say, "What good luck?" Again, the monk replies, "Maybe." Later, the monk's son attempts to tame one of the wild horses, but is thrown off and severely injured. The villagers again lament, "What bad luck?" The monk calmly responds, "Maybe." Eventually, the son recovers, and the villagers exclaim, "What good luck?" To this, the monk says, "Maybe." The story demonstrates the Buddhist principle of not rushing to judge events, whether good or bad, as they unfold. Everything is temporary, and the outcomes are never fully known at the moment. Radical acceptance also has the power to free us from the grip of judgment. When we stop labeling experiences as either good or bad, we can see the truth of each situation. In this way, we begin to trust not only the unfolding of events, but also our ability to adapt to them. By embracing what life brings, we release ourselves from fear and open the door to genuine peace. Meditation como herramienta para la paz interior. Meditation is a powerful tool for achieving inner peace, one that has been practiced for thousands of years, particularly within the context of Buddhism. It helps calm the mind, enabling individuals to connect with the present moment and let go of stress, anxiety, and distractions. This ancient practice is not just a mental exercise, but a profound spiritual tool designed to align the body and mind, allowing individuals to experience a deeper sense of peace. In Buddhism, meditation is a central practice that is deeply intertwined with the core teachings of mindfulness and presence. Through meditation, practitioners cultivate a heightened awareness of their thoughts, emotions, and sensations, leading to a deep sense of clarity and understanding. One of the key benefits of meditation is its ability to reduce stress. The constant demands of modern life can easily overwhelm the mind, leading to feelings of anxiety and burnout. However, when we take the time to sit quietly and observe our thoughts without judgment, we create a space of peace within ourselves. This allows us to step back from the chaos and cultivate a sense of calm. Meditation also has the power to improve concentration. As we train our minds to focus on a single point of attention, whether it is the breath, a mantra, or a visual object, we strengthen our ability to concentrate. This enhanced focus not only helps in meditation, but also improves our overall ability to engage with tasks in daily life, allowing us to be more present and efficient in everything we do. The beauty of meditation lies in its simplicity and adaptability. Whether practiced formally or informally, it is a tool that can be used by anyone, anywhere, to cultivate inner peace and clarity. As we meditate, we begin to realize that the constant flow of thoughts and emotions does not define us. We are simply the observers of these experiences. This realization fosters a sense of detachment from the turmoil of everyday life, leading to a greater sense of calm and balance. By integrating meditation into our daily routine, we can break the cycle of stress and anxiety that often dominates our lives. With practice, we become more attuned to the present moment, allowing us to experience life with greater clarity and peace. Whether through formal meditation sessions or simple mindfulness practices throughout the day, the benefits of meditation are profound and transformative. Meditation provides the tools needed to navigate life's challenges with a calm mind, fostering a sense of peace that can carry us through even the most difficult of circumstances. As we embrace the practice of meditation, we begin to trust in the natural flow of life, knowing that every moment offers an opportunity to experience peace, clarity, and connection. The more we practice, the more we realize that we are not our thoughts or emotions, but the awareness that holds them, making meditation an invaluable tool for cultivating lasting inner peace. Dejar el control y flor con la vida. Buddhism teaches us that suffering arises from attachment. We attach ourselves to our expectations, desires, and the illusion that we can control the world around us. This attachment creates resistance, which manifests as stress and anxiety. The more we cling to a particular way of thinking or doing things, the more we create mental tension. In contrast, when we let go of control, we open ourselves to the natural flow of life, allowing events to unfold as they will without the burden of resistance. In daily life, we can apply this approach by reframing our perspective on challenges. Instead of seeing an obstacle as something to control or avoid, we can approach it with curiosity and openness, asking ourselves what lessons it may bring. For instance, if we lose a job, instead of reacting with fear and anxiety, we can focus on the opportunity for growth that may arise from this change. By releasing the need to control the outcome, we allow ourselves to be open to new possibilities and paths that may be even better than what we had planned. Learning to let go is not always easy. We are often conditioned to believe that we must always be in control to succeed or feel secure. However, the act of surrendering control can lead to a life that feels lighter and more fulfilling. It's about trusting the process and having faith that things will unfold as they are meant to, without the need to force or manipulate situations. Compasión para uno mismo y para los demás. Compassion is a central principle in Buddhism and plays a vital role in cultivating inner peace. It is not only about showing kindness to others, but it also involves being compassionate toward oneself. This dual aspect of compassion can bring profound healing and transformation, both on a personal and relational level. By learning to practice self-compassion and extending it to others, we can create a more harmonious existence and develop stronger, more meaningful connections. In Buddhism, compassion, known as karu, is seen as one of the most essential qualities to develop. It is the foundation for overcoming suffering, as it encourages us to understand and alleviate the pain of others. However, it's important to note that compassion in Buddhism is not just about responding to the suffering of others, but also recognizing our own suffering and responding to it with kindness. This makes compassion a twofold practice, one that nurtures both the self and others. Self-compassion, in particular, is crucial for personal healing. In a world where perfection is often expected, we can be hard on ourselves when we fail to meet our own or society's standards. Practicing self-compassion means acknowledging our mistakes, forgiving ourselves, and treating ourselves with the same kindness we would offer a dear friend. This helps break the cycle of self-criticism and allows us to heal emotionally, which is an essential step toward inner peace. An example of self-compassion in everyday life could be when we face a personal setback, such as not achieving a career goal. Instead of beating ourselves up for not succeeding, self-compassion allows us to treat ourselves with understanding. We can acknowledge that setbacks are part of life and offer ourselves the support needed to move forward. This process helps reduce stress and anxiety, providing space for growth and resilience. Buddhism teaches that compassion must be practiced without discrimination. It should not be limited to people we are close to, but should extend to all beings, including those we may find difficult to love. This universal compassion is what helps break down barriers and cultivate a world based on mutual respect and kindness. In conclusion, compassion is a vital tool for healing and strengthening relationships. By practicing self-compassion and extending compassion to others, we open the door to deeper emotional and spiritual well-being. As we cultivate this practice, we can foster greater harmony in our lives and build a more compassionate world. The journey to inner peace begins with the recognition that we are all deserving of love, kindness, and understanding, starting with ourselves. Integrando las enseñanzas budistas en la vida diaria. Detachment, a key Buddhist teaching, encourages us to let go of our attachments to material possessions, relationships, and outcomes. This practice does not imply renouncing everything, but rather finding freedom by not allowing external circumstances to dictate our happiness. By learning to accept impermanence, we release the grip that attachment has on our emotions and thoughts. This freedom allows us to navigate life's challenges with greater equanimity. Acceptance is another important aspect of Buddhist teachings. It invites us to face reality as it is, without resistance or denial. When we practice acceptance, we stop fighting against life's natural flow, which often leads to suffering. Accepting things as they are helps us respond with clarity and wisdom, rather than reacting out of frustration or fear. This attitude fosters a deeper connection to the present moment and allows us to enjoy life more fully. Self-compassion, a key component of Buddhist philosophy, teaches us to be kind to ourselves in moments of difficulty. Rather than being harsh or self-critical, we learn to treat ourselves with the same care and understanding we would offer to a friend. This practice of self-kindness helps to heal emotional wounds and supports personal growth. Compassion for others, too, is central to Buddhist practice. By extending empathy and kindness to those around us, we strengthen our relationships and contribute to a more harmonious world. Compassion teaches us to see the suffering of others and act with kindness, not out of obligation, but from a place of deep understanding. Incorporating these Buddhist principles into daily life leads to a more balanced and peaceful existence. It offers long-term benefits, including emotional resilience, deeper relationships, and a greater sense of purpose. The practice of detachment, acceptance, meditation, and compassion creates a life that is more aligned with the natural flow of the world, reducing unnecessary suffering and cultivating lasting peace. As we continue to integrate these teachings, we move closer to a life of greater harmony and fulfillment.